Good morning, everybody. We are on the precipice of the beginning of Thanksgiving week 2020. We are also now 9 months into living in a pandemic world. And we've arrived at holiday season. And I am sure that many, if not most of you, never imagined when this all began in March that we would be planning for holidays in quarantine. I know that I had a lot of very naive hope when things began in March that we would rally back in about 2 weeks and things would start to get back to normal. I think that my brain just wasn't capable of envisioning the reality that we're in now. So I can imagine that in our congregation and across this country, there are a lot of difficult and very mixed feelings coming into this week and looking ahead to Christmas. I want to remind all of you that it's okay to feel sad or disappointed or angry, that you're missing out on traditions, that you're away from family that you would expect to see at this time of year. It is entirely all right to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Our congregant Kelly posted something really interesting, Kelly Fisher, about talking to children about the holidays and about how you may have children that are very sad that they're not, going to see their grandparents, or they're not getting to travel like they had expected. And one of the ways that you can talk to your kids when they're having those feelings is by affirming the bad feelings that they're having, and also reminding them that we're staying home this month so that we can protect everybody, and so that next year we can be back together again. So I know for me, I'm feeling a lot of seemingly incongruous emotions at the same time. I'm sad and I'm missing my people, and I'm also feeling very resolved that for me and for my partner, staying home this year is the right and the safe thing to do. So I just want to remind you all that no matter what you're feeling right now, it's okay. Don't try to stuff those feelings down like you might stuff a turkey. Thanksgiving has long been one of my very favorite holidays, and the reason is simple. I love Thanksgiving because of its simplicity. I love Thanksgiving that comes right before this Christmas rush when we're all really leaning into capitalism and consumerism and buying all the gadgets. I love that this holiday is focused really on delicious food and togetherness and gratitude and bounty. And as so many of us are going to be keeping it very, very simple this year, I think that that's actually quite apropos because this holiday is such a simple holiday. And I think that this may be a very good time for each of us. And I'm not saying that we don't have people among us that are struggling or having a difficult time. We certainly do. But many of us are so privileged and so fortunate. And this may be a really good year to really just take a minute to feel all that gratitude and to kind of one by one go through your blessings and name them and hold them close to you. I've also found as the months of COVID have dragged on, that I'm leaning more and more into my own generosity as a way to connect with other people and to feel like I'm participating in kind of the collective struggle to get through this. And because I recognize that I am at a point in my life where I have more resources than perhaps I ever had before. And I really want to share those resources with others. I know so many people personally that are struggling, and I also know that there are millions more that I don't know, but I hear about them and we see the the clips on the news of the incredibly long lines at food banks, and we hear stories about people being evicted from their homes or small businesses that have closed down. We know that there are millions and millions of people around the country this year that are really struggling. And one of my shifts in perspective this year, because I don't have the distraction of travel and planning, has really been to seek out organizations and sometimes even individual people that I can make donations to or that I can donate my time to, that really just give me a chance to feel like I'm doing something good, and also to feel like I'm really a part of this collective as we're all trying to figure out how to survive together. I've also noticed, and I was talking to the worship cohort this morning, that my neighbors had brought a bucket loader to their homes, and they were putting up their Christmas lights. I've noticed a lot of people are starting Christmas early this year. We started Halloween early, we're starting Christmas early. Some of us have already set up our trees. Excuse me. I know that Moria posted a picture weeks ago that Moria and Bill have their tree up and they are decking the halls. And we've really thrown ourselves right into this season of light and cheer. And frankly, I think that that's a-okay. It's 2020 and there are no more rules. So if you want to put up your Valentine's decorations now because it's going to give you a little spark of joy, I think that's just fine. If you really like Easter and you want to have an Easter egg hunt in your backyard with just yourself and your partner and your dog, and it's going to get you through to the next day, I think that's okay. We're really trying to find whatever we can that's going to bring us a little bit of joy and a little bit of comfort. And if you know that there is a tradition that you can safely do, even if it's early, even if it's not timely, I really say go for it. But I want to caution us against ignoring this Thanksgiving holiday and whizzing right past it. In rehearsal on Friday, our very own Jess Lieb had a little bit of wisdom for us. And we were talking about, I think we were talking about Christmas shopping, maybe, or just holiday preparation. And she was talking about how much she actually enjoys Thanksgiving. And she said something that was so wise. And I told her that I was probably going to quote her and that she had already written my sermon for me. And I thanked her for that. She said, aren't we supposed to look at all we have to be grateful for before we start asking for more? And I thought, oh, well, isn't that a very important, wise thing to remember, especially now? Aren't we supposed to look at all that we have to be grateful for before we start asking for more? So if you're decorating your home for Christmas, if you're getting in the holiday spirit, that's wonderful. But don't whiz right past this holiday that really is supposed to be about simplicity and celebrating and appreciating what you already have and the bounty that you have before you start going out and collecting more things. Take this coming Thursday to practice some intentional gratitude. If you think of something that you're grateful for, I find that it helps to say it out loud, to name it, to write it down. If you find this week, as you're preparing for whatever your pandemic Thanksgiving is going to look like, and you find that you're enjoying yourself or you have a burst of happiness, I encourage you to pause and to say to yourself, I'm feeling happy now. I'm feeling happy now because, and it's a way for us to just kind of savor those moments. You know, people talk a lot about happiness as if it should be some sort of permanent condition. And most of us know that that's not actually how happiness works. So when we do feel happiness, if we're able to catch it and name it and really be in that moment, we get to hold on to it a little bit longer. So that's one thing that you can practice intentionally this Thanksgiving. we need to fill our banks with as many sparks of joy as we have. And so if you have those sparks of joy, take note of them and lean into them. We do have some tips about how to make a pandemic Thanksgiving special. And maybe it's too late. Maybe you have your plans, you know what you're doing. I don't want to disrupt anybody's plans. So if you know exactly what Thursday is going to look like for you, feel free to tune out for the next 3 minutes. But here are just some ways that you can make a COVID Thanksgiving feel special and not just like a drag. My first is that you don't need to feel pressured this year to stick to a traditional Thanksgiving menu if your heart's not in it. If your heart is in it and you wait all year for turkey and cranberry sauce and stuffing, then by all means, if that's what you want, then go for it. But if you're like me, and this is a confession of sorts, and Thanksgiving food has just never really been your favorite thing, it's okay to change the menu. You don't have, Aunt Sue to please with your cranberry relish, so you can really make whatever you want. If you want grilled cheese and tomato soup for Thanksgiving, you can have that because it's 2020 and there are no more rules anymore. I have a friend who posted that she had ordered a charcuterie plate that was meant for 5 or 6 people. And she had ordered it entirely for herself and that she was going to have the best Thanksgiving ever. And I thought that sounded like a fantastic idea. So that also connects in, if you don't feel like cooking this year, you don't have to because it's COVID Thanksgiving. There are all of these local businesses and local restaurants that are really struggling. And if you have time to put in some special orders and you can support a small business and keep it running right now, this may be a really good year to do that. Another tip, if you typically travel for Thanksgiving and you typically are with your extended family on this day, you can dine together virtually. We've all become experts at Zoom, and there's no reason why you can't have Thanksgiving dinner on Zoom, or even just a brief touch-in, while people are cooking. Maybe you and your sister, who's states and states away, can cook the same dish together, even if you're in separate kitchens. Don't forget that we have lots of ways that we can come together, even if we're very far apart. A lot of us have really learned how to remain connected virtually. And don't forget all of those tools that you have at your disposal if you're getting kind of wrapped up in your disappointment of this day. You can do a dish swap. You can, if you make a pie and you have a neighbor that you really like or that has not been having the best of times, you can drop off a pie on your neighbor's porch, or you can organize with a group of friends to make something special and then to trade amongst yourselves. And really, my final tip for a 2020 pandemic Thanksgiving is to always return to a place of gratitude, abundance, and generosity. I said at the beginning of this message, and I'll say it to conclude, I never want to discourage any of you from feeling your feelings, from allowing yourself to experience hard things, to feel sadness, to feel frustration. But I do think that this is an opportunity to return to the places where we have gratitude, where we recognize our abundance, and where we practice generosity with one another. And I really think that those 3 practices, gratitude, abundance, and generosity, are the things that are going to get us through. They're going to get us through however long this tunnel lasts. And that's what we can always return to, especially when we're really, really struggling. We are staying away from each other this Thanksgiving so that we can all be together again next year. And so I just want to remind all of you to stay strong, to stay connected however you can, and to know that we are truly all in this together and we're going to get through. Happy Thanksgiving. Amen, and blessed be.